Morena, my fam. So I'm just going to go over the Kintsugi update spotlights now that they've got all 4 out. I was initially going to do a recording of Sengoku Dynasty, but then I did see this update spotlight and decided it's probably not best to continue playing when I know that I'm going to have to restart the game, as in their update they've stipulated that after the Kintsugi update your oldest save may not work. The Kintsugi update regarding the new animals, at the moment in this news update, all they've revealed is that they've got Japanese black bears as well as a sort of subspecies of the grey wolf, which is now extinct. So it is really cool to see that they're actually providing animals that aren't necessarily still around or well known in game. There wasn't a whole lot of, I guess, hostility. I could run pretty much through half the map and not run across a animal that would try to kill me or anything, or even come across any bandits, which is good for when you first start out, but it would be nice to have that sort of small level of aggression or hostility when you start, so that it actually makes you feel like you need to be a little bit on your toes, that you can't just wander the forest and not expect to face an enemy. But besides the wolf and the bears, they're also introducing another animal which they haven't revealed, so that will be really cool to see. I'm kind of hoping that it's another animal that's either extinct or something different, not necessarily a predator. Their second update spotlight is the frame generation, which will be absolutely fantastic, because I did notice that while playing there was a few bits where I did lag and the performance of the game was a little bit choppy. The visuals were actually pretty average. They weren't super bad, but they weren't the most beautiful shots or views that you could see in a game. This is the images they've provided on their highlight. We should see a boost in the frames per second. I do record in 60 FPS, but sometimes when I was playing the game I could see it drop, which is not ideal, and it's not something that I like to show other people. When you're playing a new game, you want to have like really good quality, or as best as the game can offer, but if that's the best the game can offer, and it's not a good look for the game. I do try and do the game justice by providing as good as an image that they can give me, but if they can't give me a good image, a good FPS, if they can't give me the good loading times or the good performance in the game, then it's not a good look for them, and I'm only gonna replicate that when I show you the game. When I started the game, it was a good solid 2 minutes before I could even get into the game. It's nice that they had the images and the nice art to look at and the little tips and stuff about the game at the bottom, but having a loading screen for about 2 to 5 minutes at the start is not a good look. So I'm really hoping that this new update is going to actually really improve the visuals and the overall gameplay experience. Their third update is the reworked progress system. So I haven't seen much of this myself, as I haven't gotten very far into the game. Some of the things they're introducing in this will be fantastic for a new play, as they have streamlined a couple of things. You can recruit wandering refugees from the very beginning, as well as the main one that I'm really interested in is this one here, is that you can now build where you want and don't have to backtrack to Tossichi to be able to build your first bell tower and house. That was one of the most pain in the ass aspects of starting the game, even though I only played 2 hours. Every time I built something, it was go back to the Tossichi, get a new quest, now you need to build something else. I ended up finding a good location. I was like, sweet, I just need to build this bell tower and then I might have to go back. I thought that I would be able to progress through the quest without having to go back to this man. But no, you build your bell tower, you go back to Tossichi, he tells you to build a house, you have to go back to him again, and then he tells you, oh, you can recruit some people, and then you have to go back to where you've started your village, and then you have to start building. And I wouldn't be surprised if they made you go back to him again. So I'm looking forward to this one. Then you've got other bits and pieces where recipes require less planks and other advanced resources. You can skip the Sosoji quests. but obviously you're gonna miss out on the Dynasty XP and lose out on being able to speed up your development. A better recipe unlocking system. This isn't something that I've come across so much within the first 2 hours of playing the game. These are the new ways that you can unlock recipes, which is acquiring specific items, building certain structures, purchasing the recipes directly, or buying the recipe blueprints from a trader. So this is a great way to implement an unlocking system, is that they reward you with these recipes by just simply playing the game, because you're going to be building structures, you're going to be collecting items, you're going to be looking in your menu and going, oh sweet, maybe I should get this recipe. You're going to be talking to the trader and you're going to see something and go, sweet, I want that. So that's fantastic to see that they reward you for simply playing the game. So they've updated the progression by, instead of giving you an entire level for doing a quest or a task, they're going to give you experience so that you're contributing to the level. I would consider that the standard of progressing in levels. It seems that they were like, oh hey, if you built a house, you got to Dynasty Legend level 1 or something, or if you did this quest, you were up another level. But instead what they're going to do, when you complete quests and finish special projects, that will earn you Dynasty XP, and that will contribute to your Dynasty Legend levels, so that you have to actually accumulate enough XP to make the next level. So when you recruit, you get Dynasty XP, therefore that will contribute to your Dynasty Legend. And in some ways, that is what they're saying will encourage you to make a bigger and larger village. I am looking forward to this update, as it will make it feel like you're actually contributing to something, you're working towards small goals and getting rewarded for playing the game, for exploring, for doing tasks, for making a good village, and for recruiting NPCs and simply just interacting with the world. This last spotlight is the daily production. In the game, they did say that the villagers will consume the resources they need at the end of the season, but in this update, they're saying that rather than have everything produced at the end of a season, they are now producing the resources and whatever they are assigned to per day. So it doesn't specify that they consume within the day. All they've specified is that they will be producing per day. And obviously this is good for managing your village. Going per day is a little bit easier to manage than per season. In the past, you would typically stockpile all the resources you need just before the end of the season, but this actually provides a little bit more realism in the fact that you have to make sure that they're fed, they've got their needs satisfied per day, rather than at the end of the season where you just go, oh sweet, I've got 50 food at the end of the season, that will provide enough for the 3 people that I have. It also means that you can actually get your goods that you need per day, rather than waiting a whole season for your goods that you've been waiting for because you need to build another building, and you don't have to wait until the end of the season for those goods to be in the storage. Also included in this update is the AI improvements. You want to have good AI when it comes to the task that they have to perform to provide you with the resources that you need to make your village thrive. The workplace shortcuts, they're just making it a little bit easier to navigate, as well as you've got the efficiency of the workers will be more reliable without constant small changes to happiness. And then they've just reworked where the workplaces are moved to the corresponding furniture instead of being in the production building, so that makes it a little bit easier. And then they've also removed the player character from the workplace assignment. I don't know why they would have had this in the first place. You don't want your character to be involved in any assignment. You should be completely separate and only have the NPCs in the management system, as your character is pretty much a free baller This just provides a little bit more realism. There's no point putting your character in a workplace because you're not actually there performing the work. You're probably out exploring, you're doing other bits and pieces, you're doing the quests. So crafting and producing will be done in real time. And this last one just comes back to the fact that they've changed the production to daily rather than at the end of the season, so that you have the notifications at an appropriate time. Makes it a lot easier for you to manage your village in a timely manner rather than waiting until the end of the season and then going, oh crap, I need this or I need to do that. They're also providing new decorations, baskets, barrels, new visuals, and just adding a little bit more to liven up the village. Then they're also allowing you to change the number of days in a season. This is already implemented on Medieval Dynasty, so it's good to see this change in the settings as well. I know some people prefer longer seasons and having longer years. Looks like they're going to add achievements, but they would prefer to add them when they do the full release. Whether that comes in sooner or later, it doesn't make a huge difference in terms of your game. And this is the big one when it comes to your old saves after the Kintsugi update. They're essentially saying they will try and provide backwards compatibility if they can, but they can't guarantee it. They may provide an additional branch, an older version of the game if you want to continue. So coming back to this update, obviously with the new animals, the frame rate and the performance, the new progress system and the daily production, all of this is fantastic to see that it will be as one update. There is quite a few things to go in the game, but until they actually release this update, I won't be recording any more Sengoku Dynasty. I do not want to stuff around with an old save. If you're keen on playing Sengoku Dynasty, I'll put the link in the description and you can check that out. If you've already got this game, be aware that this update is coming and that your old save may not be suitable. I'm going to shelf this game for a little bit just to let the update settle in, and then we can start a new village with all the new stuff implemented, and we should be able to progress fairly quickly with those new updates, especially if I do not have to go back to Tossichi a zillion times. Thanks for watching, fam, and I'll see you in the next one.